Then two things happened that sort of really pushed me up into the next level. Saluton, parolas Tomaso. Hi, it's Thomas here, and today I'm going to talk about a common question that comes in several different forms. It is possible to become very comfortable in the language, and it is possible to really reduce the number of mistakes that you make as you go. And here's a little bit about how my journey got there. So the first thing I think about is, how long does it take? I get that question a lot. I see that question a lot on different forums online. And really it depends on what you mean by fluency. They're kind of a pain in the butt to use, and because they're a pain in the butt to use, your mind is focused on them longer. You spend more time writing them out. When you have them in your pocket, you're like, oh, you know, you can't pick it up and say, oh, let me check my messages at the same time. There are fewer distractions, right? So I still think that in this day and age, there's room in our lives for real flashcards. You get fluent by immersing yourself in the language. And one easy way to do that right from the beginning is to read. I'd made my goal. I thought I wanted to be at the point where I was comfortable in Esperanto. It took me a year. A lot of speaking, a lot of practicing. Then two things happened that sort of really pushed me up into the next level. The first thing that I credit to really boosting my fluency is I began to teach Esperanto. And the reason I began to teach, I was still pretty new. In fact, it may have been before my one-year Passport La Servo trip that I was just mentioning. I don't remember exactly when I started, but I'd received an email saying that every day or every month or whatever it is, the free Esperanto course receives so many requests for people who wanted to learn Esperanto, but there weren't enough tutors to correct the exams. So I volunteered to help. And what I did was, you know, people would send me the email and I would compare it to the answer key. And I would write back to them, you know, this missing accusative here, these adjectives don't agree, you used the wrong word there, you forgot an ending here, you used the wrong word there, right? And I was just basically comparing against the key. It seems a little funny to say that now when we have so many automated ways to learn Esperanto and correct people's work. But the fact that I was doing that every day, often multiple, you know, 10 emails a week, 20 emails a week, correcting people's lessons, I was really drilling myself on the basics and getting every little ending right. And then people would write back, well, why does it have to be like this? Well, I don't know, and I'd have to think about why it is, right? So by answering their questions, they would push me beyond my comfort zone, and I'd have to learn something new. So teaching was one thing that I think that really kind of pushed me up to the next level. So if you know the answer to a question and you see it out there in a forum and it seems appropriate to answer the question, by all means help out. And if you're not sure, answer the question, this is what somebody told me, and then maybe somebody else will come in and clarify. So it's always a good thing to do. The second thing that happened that really kind of boosted my Esperanto fluency off the end was we made the kind of nutty decision to use Esperanto as a home language. When you know, in the beginning, we were just doing it sort of on Thursday nights, Thursdays after work. I think I mentioned that earlier. My wife and I would speak Esperanto to each other for a whole day, or when we were home anyway. And yeah, it was fun. And then we decided to speak it with our children. And at that point, I said, you know what, I want to get to the point where I don't have to hesitate in Esperanto, where, you know, I don't come up and say, gee, how do you say these French fries are our model, right? I want you to copy these French fries and make all the French fries the same size, you know. Or, you know, I don't want to, you see something in your house, a blender. Oh, son, go ahead and turn off that thing over there, right? I didn't want the language that I was using to be oversimplified. You know, I didn't think that was a healthy environment to grow up in. And I also didn't think that if I hesitated to say something, if I talked less because I didn't know how to say, you know, onesie. I got to go get one of his onesie, or your sister's onesie, or your little brother's onesie. I thought that would be bad. So I made it my goal. I would need to become perfectly fluent in Esperanto. And really what this comes down to is motivation. I continued with the same methods I talked before. I continued reading. I continued speaking out loud. I continued going to events and talking to people. And I would, as it went around my daily life, I thought, how do you say that in Esperanto? I don't know, and I'd write it down. Just, you know, and I wouldn't find the solution, then I would write it down somewhere. And then when I had time, I would go back and I would look at these, and I would either look them up in a dictionary, or I'd think about it, or I'd ask other people and come up to some kind of consensus on how to do that. So really the answer is, if you want to become fluent in Esperanto, you've got to use Esperanto. That's simple. So if you have some good suggestions on how to learn, or if you have some questions about things that you're doing, whether they might be advantageous, please leave a comment. And by speaking Esperanto as a home language, we also had opportunities to get out there and meet other families, meet other people who also spoke Esperanto at home. Since they were using Esperanto every day, they were also at a pretty high level. So this decision for us made it possible to meet more fluent speakers. I don't know that this is necessarily something everybody can do or should do, but the principle is the same. If you want to get better, find other people who speak Esperanto well and spend time with them. Spend time talking to them, writing to them, reading the works that they've done. So that's always a good way to go. Thanks for watching. I hope you can watch some of the suggested videos that are either popping up over my head as we've gone through this, or in the end screens. There's some good opportunities to learn and to listen to Esperanto. And there's some opportunity to learn and listen to spoken Esperanto. Of course, it's always good to be exposed to more Esperanto. There's some opportunities to learn or to hear Esperanto on this channel. And so for that, I also want to thank the patrons who continue to support this channel. Thank you so much. And yeah, so we'll see you the next time. Jeez.